Hey guys, it's Cece, and today I have a rather large January book haul to share with you. So today I'm talking about 25 books. The stack is daunting. Of that 25, I want to say 9 I purchased myself. I might be off somewhere on there, but about 9. Some of them were requested books that were sent to me, some are books that just got sent to me unsolicited, and I do have one giveaway I'm going to talk about over the course of this video. A giveaway is going to include 6 books, so stay tuned to see which 6 books you could win, in addition to a $25 Starbucks gift card. I don't really know how I'm going to do this. I just keep looking over at the stack and kind of being like, So, I guess what I should talk about first is probably what I bought at the beginning of January, and that is the stuff that I bought for my January TBR bookshop challenge. So, I'm not going to talk about these books for too long because in all honesty, I'm getting rid of most of them, but these are the books that I purchased in January for my January bookshop challenge. If you don't know what that is, go check out my January TBR. It was a lot of fun, or watch my January reading wrap-up where I talk about most of these. So let's see, which ones of these am I getting rid of? So there's, Bronze Gods and Silver Mirrors by A. Aguirre. They were bad. So I'm getting rid of them. But I did haul them. I bought Silver Mirrors at Barnes & Noble, and I bought Bronze Gods a little bit later on Amazon so I could read the first book in the series. There are those. I also bought Our Own Private Universe. This is a female-female romance, that had good points and bad points. It's by Robin Talley. Unsure of whether or not I'm keeping this. I bought The Good Girl by Mary Kubica, which I didn't like and I'm not keeping, but I bought it. I bought Truly Madly Guilty by Liane Moriarty, which I didn't get the chance to actually read in January, so I'm keeping it around. This is a domestic mystery of sorts. There's some kind of mystery that starts at a local barbecue, and you know, it's a big chunky Liane Moriarty book, but I didn't get the chance to read it in January, so keeping this one around. And the last book that I bought during that challenge was Renegades by Marissa Meyer, which is about the son of superheroes and the niece of the most famous supervillain, and it was a lot of fun, and I'm definitely keeping it because it was great. So that is the January bookshop challenge portion of the haul. The rest of these I will spend a little longer talking about, I promise. I just wanted to get this group out of the way because I feel like everyone's heard about all of these books by now from me. So next I want to talk about 3 other books that I purchased myself with my own money. The first I just barely talked about, Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. I talked about this in my February TBR. This is a very classic piece of SFF history. It was published originally in the 1970s. It is about a black woman named Dana in the 70s, and she is moving into her new home in California when she is suddenly pulled backwards through time and finds a boy drowning in a river in the 1800s. He is the son of a plantation owner, and Dana is continually pulled away from her time and back to his time, and every time she's pulled back, she stays longer and longer, and things get more dangerous. I bought this specifically to read in February because it is a classic, important piece of Black SFF history, and I'm really liking it so far, so good purchase. I also bought This Side of Home by Renee Watson at a used bookstore for 75 cents. I was like, what's even happening? I adore Renee Watson's writing. I loved her book, Piecing Me Together, so I wanted to read her other book that I am, like, most aware of. This is about Maya, who has an identical twin sister, Nikki, and the two of them have always been incredibly close. As they move into high school, they start to be drawn apart, and there are some other issues regarding the high school that Maya attends, feeling like they need to erase the ghetto history of the neighborhood instead of celebrating the history of the neighborhood. I think at this point I would read anything Renee Watson writes. So when I saw this for 75 cents, I was like, are you kidding me? I would have paid full price for this book easily. And the final book that I purchased for myself is Last Night in Nuuk by Niviak Corneliuson. I actually pre-ordered this book since it was released in English on January 15th, so this is one of my pre-orders. This is about young life in Greenland, basically. It features coming-of-age stories of 5 different young people and is queer as hell. So that would be why I purchased it. It was translated from Danish, and I've been really excited to read it. So I pre-ordered it, so I own it, and I think it's gonna be great. It's also really short and features moments where it's just like text messages. There are a lot of text message conversations. So I'm really excited about this. Okay, I actually have one more book that I didn't necessarily buy, but I got it in a books for trade on Twitter. So the lovely Kitty, I will include her Twitter and her blog linked in the description below, had posted a books for trade. I had an arc she wanted, she had an arc I wanted. So, in that trade, I got Black Wings Beating by Alex London. I know almost nothing about this book besides the fact that it is queer sci-fi. Alex London has written other queer sci-fi before. He's pretty famous for Proxy, that series, which I never read, but was like dystopian with gay boys and was like a pretty big moment in queer YA, that being published, so I don't know like almost anything about Black Wings Beating. Oh, I may have lied to you. I think this is actually fantasy, not sci-fi. Yeah, it's about twins, Bryson and Kylie, but Bryson's queer and has a romance with another boy. That's what I know about it. I also know a lot of people wanted me to read this when I mentioned it in my like January TBR. A lot of people brought this up because I tried to buy it, but was denied its alliterative title, which is fair. There's a whole thing between B's. But enough people were enthusiastic in the comments of that video that when I saw that Kitty had this, I was very much like, please send it to me. Next, I want to talk about 3 books that were sent to me by publishers, or in the case of this one, a subscription box. The first is Speak by Laurie Hall Sanderson. This was sent to me unsolicited. I think it's 20th anniversary? Yeah, 20th anniversary, so it's a new edition celebrating 20 years since publication. This was a fairly, like, big hitter in terms of YA of the late 90s, early 2000s. It was published in 99, and it is a book that deals with sexual assault. I read this a couple of years ago and just like sobbed all the way through it and really loved it for a lot of reasons, but haven't been able to bring myself to reread it since. So I was really excited actually when this came in the mail because it gives me an opportunity to reread it, and I'm looking forward to that opportunity. I also received a hardcover copy of Our Year of Maybe by Rachel Lynn Solomon. I originally was sent an ARC of this, but then the hardcover came without warning, so now I have this hardcover, which is fine, because I didn't get the chance to read the ARC yet, so looking forward to this. This is about a difficult friendship dynamic between this guy, Peter, and a girl, Sophie, and they're best friends, and Peter needs a kidney, and Sophie donates her kidney, and then what follows is Peter feeling really indebted to Sophie, even as he's being drawn to this guy who's in a band, Sophie feeling really abandoned by Peter and not getting the attention that she wants from him because she has really liked him for a long time. I know this is going to break my heart. I know it's going to be glorious and wonderful and queer and deal with so many intense topics, so I was very excited when I received the hardcover of this, because I'm sure it's one that I'm going to want to have a hardcover copy of in my collection. And then I also wanted to talk about The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chokshi. This book was part of the January Owlcrate box, which I received because I receive the Owlcrate boxes for review. And this is the Owlcrate exclusive cover, which is silvery and blue as opposed to like gold and silvery with the original cover. This is a heist con story of sorts set in Paris in 1889, and it features a cast of characters who have to steal a thing. I know that there are many people of color, I know that there are multiple queer people, and I know that when this was released, everyone read it except for me and lost their shit over it. So I want to read it. I already wanted to read it, but then everyone loved it, so now I really want to read it. This will be the first Roshani Chokshi book I've read. I didn't read her other books when they were released. But this one sounds a lot more up my alley. Okay, before I talk about the books that were sent to me by subscribers, because I have a few of those, which, like, guys, I'm gonna get to them. Before I talk about those books, I want to talk about books that you can win in a giveaway. This incredible giveaway is courtesy of Megan Beatie Communications. All of the information on Megan and Megan Beatie Communications will be down in the description below. Megan is an independent book publicist who reached out to me and asked if I wanted to receive a few books that I talked about in recent videos. So clearly I said yes, and I'm going to talk about these 6 books that were sent along to me, and those are the same 6 books that you can win in the giveaway. So here's your overview of books that are going to be given away to one of you. First is the only adult book in this collection, and that is The Murmur of Bees by Sofia Segovia, which was translated by Simon Bruni. I talked about this book in my most anticipated adult releases at the beginning of January. This book is set in a small Mexican town, and it follows this town when one of the inhabitants finds a baby, and the baby is disfigured and covered in a blanket of bees. So it follows this community raising this boy who they believe to be kissed by the devil, and looks fantastic. I've been obsessed with this cover since I first saw it, and I think that everything inside sounds fantastically interesting. So there is book 1. Books 2 and 3 are both by Maureen Johnson, so we have Truly Devious as well as The Vanishing Stair. So this is a series, it's part of a trilogy. There are going to be 3 books total, but the first book, Truly Devious, is set at a place called Ellingham Academy, and this academy is famous because the founder's wife and daughter were kidnapped, and then a message was sent detailing the way that the 2 of them were murdered, signed Truly Devious. And then this is about true crime aficionado Stevie Bell, and she is going to start her first year at the academy, and she's also determined to solve this cold case when Truly Devious makes a reappearance. This is like... People keep telling me that I need to read this murder mystery series. The first book got a ton of great reviews. I know a lot of people have been excited about the second one, so that's books 2 and 3 that will come as part of the giveaway. Next up, we have Something Like Gravity by Amber Smith. This is an arc. The book is going to be released in June of this year. This is a contemporary following Chris and Maya and their neighbors, and they've kind of wanted nothing to do with each other, and then a car accident brings them together and allows them to kind of process the things that they're going through with each other. Chris, as he's dealing with coming out as trans while also processing an assault that he went through the previous year, and Maya as she is dealing with the loss of her sister. So that is Something Like Gravity, an arc that's being released in June 2019. That is going to be part of the giveaway. We also have Black Enough, an anthology edited by E.B. Zaboy. This is a collection of short stories written by Black authors about the experiences of Black youth. There are a variety of stories covering so many different topics. I have so far read the first 4 stories, which are by Renee Watson, Varian Johnson, Leah Henderson, and Lamar Giles. There are going to be a lot more that I'm sure I'm going to love. So far, it's a fantastic anthology that has some incredibly, incredibly strong stories. And the final book is The Fever King by Victoria Lee, which I know a lot of people out there have wanted to read. So this book is about Noam, the son of undocumented immigrants, and he is involved in an accident that kills the rest of his family and leaves him with technopathic abilities. Noam has spent his life fighting for the rights of refugees who are fleeing magical outbreaks, and when the Minister of Defense reaches out to Noam and asks him to undergo some very serious treatments to learn about his technopathic abilities, Noam sees this as a chance to make a change. So there's a really severe power imbalance. Noam is going through some incredibly horrifying things, and then he meets the minister's son, who is cool, and he is cold, and he is beautiful. And so this has like anti-heroes in it, and it's also very, very queer, and a lot of people have been looking forward to it. So if you win the giveaway, you get this too. Like I said, these 6 books are going to be a part of the giveaway, courtesy of Megan Beatie Communications, along with that $25 Starbucks gift card that I mentioned earlier. Information on how to enter will be in the description below. Go check it out and you can enter to win these 6 books. Okay, now it is time to talk about subscriber books, because some subscribers have sent me some books from my Amazon wishlist, and I'm so incredibly grateful, and I'm going to talk about them. So first up, we have Final Draft by Riley Redgate. This book was sent to me by Flavia. Thank you, Flavia. This was an incredibly important book to me last year. I've talked about it in numerous videos. I recently talked about it in my mental health in YA video. But this book is about a biracial Ecuadorian fat girl who's also pansexual, dealing with the pressures of writing, of dealing with burnout, of pushing yourself too far in the pursuit of writing beyond your comfort zone. And it's also a book about dealing with depression and the fallout of all of that. It's an incredibly brilliant book. I totally stand by Riley Redgate and everything that she writes. It's all fantastic. So thank you, Flavia, for sending this to me. We also have Binti. This book was sent to me by Kirsten. I just talked about it in my February TBR. This is a novella, and it is SFF, and that's all I know about it. I know that I've really wanted to read it because a lot of people praise Binti. It's a Hugo and Nebula Award winner. It's right there on the cover, and I've really been interested in reading more by Nnedi Okorafor because she comes so highly recommended. So this was sent to me, and I cannot wait to read it this month. Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. This was sent to me by Madeline, who is a patron. They're also Ravenclaw Maddie on YouTube and Twitter. This was one of my favorite books of last year. I talked about it in my favorite books of the year video, because I love it. This book is about a biracial, bisexual girl named Frances, and she is struggling with the pressures of education. She is worried that the only thing she'll ever be known for is the fact that she was good at school. She also has a secret hobby that no one at school can know about, and that is that she listens to this podcast. It is called Universe City, and it is hosted by the elusive Radio Silence. And then this host reaches out to Frances and asks if she will do official art for the podcast, at the same time that Frances befriends a boy across the street named Aled. I feel like I describe this the same way every time and use the same words every time. Does anyone else ever get in that habit of describing books over and over again the exact same way? Because I feel like I get in that habit, and I don't mean to. This is an incredibly amazing book about dealing with academic pressure, about, like, a broship to end all broships. Frances and Aled are my kids for life. Aled is also demisexual. It's on the page. And this was lovely and wonderful. And I love it. So thank you for sending this to me. Because now I can go through my notes that I've taken in my note app and, like, mark up this book. Since I just talked about Radio Silence, it feels only right to jump into Welcome to Night Vale, since Universe City in Radio Silence is deeply inspired by Welcome to Night Vale. So this is a book by Joseph Fink and Jeffrey Craner, who are the creators of the Welcome to Night Vale podcast, which I listened to for a number of years. This was sent to me by Jackson, and it came all wrapped up in this fancy little... I was absolutely blown away. This came wrapped, and I almost cried. Also, can we talk about the end pages of this? This book is so beautiful. I believe that this book is queer. Maybe that's just me drawing on the fact that I know the podcast is queer, in that the host of the podcast itself, Cecil Gershwin Palmer, is, I believe, gay, and he has a relationship with Carlos the scientist with his beautiful hair. So maybe I'm just, like, reading into the fact that this is going to be queer. This doesn't follow Cecil. This follows a character named Jackie Fierro, as well as Diane Creighton, but it has elements of the Welcome to Night Vale podcast, such as the mysterious man in the tan jacket carrying a deerskin suitcase, which is a big part of, like, the original arc of the podcast. I'm excited about this. That's the point. I don't know exactly how it's queer. I'm assuming it will be, and I'm assuming it's going to be creepy and wonderful, and I'm sad that I fell off listening to the podcast, but that's why I've really wanted to get into all of the written work that Jeffrey Craner and Joseph Fink have done in this world, because the world of Welcome to Night Vale, I love it. Next, I want to talk about Mean by Miriam Gerba. This was sent to me by Valerie, or Valerie F. Stewart on Twitter. Thank you very much, Valerie. This is a memoir that I talked about in my top 20 queer to read video, like back in November, I think. But it's about Miriam Gerba growing up as a queer mixed-race Chicana, and I want to read a lot of Miriam Gerba and what she has written, but this is specifically a book that I talked about in that video, so now I get to read it soon. So thank you, Valerie, because I'm very excited. And the last book that a subscriber sent me is Dreadknot by April Daniels, one of my favorite books of all time, one of my definite favorite superhero books of all time. This was sent to me. Oh no, the little thing fell out! Oh, that's right, it didn't come with a thing. Someone sent me a note. Someone sent me a thing that said who they were. I'm sorry, I know that I have it written down somewhere who sent me this book because it didn't originally come with a note, but they did reach out. So thank you very much. Dreadknot is about Dani, who is a trans girl but is not out to her family, mostly because they're incredibly transphobic and homophobic and abusive. And then the superhero Dreadknot dies at her feet, and Dani inherits those powers as well as a body that she has always wanted. She gets to look the way that she's always wanted to look, which has the unfortunate consequence of thrusting her out of the closet, so she is dealing with the abuse and the transphobia of her parents. She's also dealing with the superhero community, transphobia within the superhero community, and supervillains. One of the biggest things about this series is that one of the big villains is a TERF, and some really transphobic things are said over the course of this book, but it is own voices and deals with some of the like really intense bad shit about being a superhero really well. There's a lot I love about this series. This is the first book. The second book is called Sovereign. I love both of them. Sovereign has a female-female romance with Dani because, as she establishes in this book, she's also a lesbian. And yeah, it's wonderful. I love the series, and I was so grateful to receive this. Seriously, if you are a subscriber who has ever sent me a book, I don't know, like, how to properly thank you, because I don't know how to express how overwhelmed I am when these books arrive in the mail. It means so much to me, especially when they arrive with these notes. Yeah, I thank you all so much. That's kind of the only words that I can use, because I don't know how else to thank you, but thank you so much for caring about me. I love these gifts that I have received. Remember to check out the information for the giveaway down in the description below and go ahead and enter. There will be information as far as when the giveaway ends, that kind of stuff down in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye!